Their platform facilitates billions of requests monthly, supporting top brands that generate more than 1.5 trillion in commerce, including Audi, Gap, Macy's, Starcom, MediaWest Group, and many other globally recognizable names. Welcome on stage, Signal with their SVP and Managing Director, EMEA, James SANDOVAL.
Good afternoon. Hello, everyone. It's pretty awesome to be here. Hopefully you liked Jonathan Whistler's presentation. He's a very good friend. Lots of respect for him. In fact, he was one of my clients when I used to work at Ogilvy many years ago. My name is James SANDOVAL. I'm here to kind of introduce myself and Signal, Chicago-based Signal. I'm going to tell a little bit of a story about my journey in this world of digital marketing. Specifically the relationship I've had with data and technology, and this concept of personalization for marketing communications and customer experiences. So, by the way, it's really awesome to be here. I got a really good taste of Turkish hospitality last night like I've never experienced before, so my view of Istanbul and Turkey has just elevated by about 25 notches. It's great to be here. So I'm going to speak a bit broadly about this idea of next generation communications or marketing communications and the personalization of marketing communications, also customer experience personalization. Again, rewinding back about 15 years, in fact. But let's start with a little bit about me. So I've been around for about 15 years. I'm a bit of an entrepreneur. I've started a couple of companies with that guy over there, Indranil Datta, who's our solutions director at Signal. I'm based in London. I'm in love with all things technology and data in the context of marketing, because I've kind of dedicated my life for the last 15 years building businesses that leverage technology and data for marketing communications purposes. And today, for the last 2.5 years, in fact, I've been heading up the Signal business in London, taking some technology that I'll explain to you in just a moment, mostly to multi-channel retailers, brands, and also media companies too. But my journey started in 1999 with a company behind this logo that was called Avenue A. Avenue A was a small agency in Seattle, a technology company. We crafted our own ad serving solution. We hired some really amazing people. I was very lucky to get brought into that company in Seattle in 1999 and win the confidence of some amazing advertisers who were contributing or committing large volumes of budgets, millions upon millions of dollars, investing into something called online advertising. And it was there that I kind of got my MBA in digital marketing, and I've been at it for quite some time. But actually, it was about a year before that Avenue A announced the development of some technology, kind of infrastructure for the delivery and the management and the measurement of display campaigns online. Technology that was called internally at the agency Axis. Axis was amazing, and it was actually the beginning of the personalization of at least display campaigns for our advertisers. But personalization then was pretty basic. We asked our clients to produce lots and lots of creative, so many creative treatments, and then we kind of manually optimized campaigns along the way to try to ensure that the display messaging that they had created was being delivered to the right audiences. Now, pretty manual stuff. I was working 14 to 16-hour days to do this stuff, but it was incredibly exciting. It was the beginning of leveraging technology and lots of data, lots of pixels on clients' websites, even in 1999, to try to learn and optimize the delivery of marketing communications, ideally on some kind of a personalized basis. And these are the kind of core concepts in 1999 around how this was happening. We called it rapid campaign optimization. So again, an agency full of people using technology to deliver, ideally, some degree of personalization in marketing communications campaigns, display advertising. And we did that well. So this is kind of some of the marketing that we used to describe what we were doing back in around 2000, 2002. And this is how we kind of described our vision on the personalization of advertising, right? Picking out very specifically the types of audiences you want to reach, represented by that black sheep. But really, this was the basis, right? So this is the announcement of the development of Axis within this agency called Avenue A, which, by the way, some of you may recognize today is Razorfish. It's part of Publicis Group. So this is where I kind of started my career. And we leveraged this technology and data, again, for the delivery of campaigns. Axis became Atlas. Atlas, the ad-serving solution used by many advertisers, and many of you will know that it was just redeveloped and re-released by Facebook just recently as essentially an extension of their own infrastructure for the delivery of maximizing value of their audiences beyond the four walls of Facebook. So basically, I've seen this development of in-house technology become an ad-serving solution for agencies and advertisers that's now become an ad-serving solution for Facebook, which is pretty exciting. I think it's pretty awesome. But what makes this special, really, it isn't so much the technology or that it's infrastructure. It's actually identity. So Facebook has tremendous identity assets to capitalize on. And one way to do that is to, well, buy something called Atlas, rebuild that, and then make that available for advertisers to create value against those identities, not necessarily on a bad horror movie basis, although for maybe some privacy professionals out there, it is a bit of a horror story. They have identity. Now, a lot of that identity is not exactly terribly perfect. It's half correct or maybe a quarter correct, but nevertheless, Facebook has tremendous identity assets to leverage. Really, really useful identity that they can use to personalize marketing communications, but as a media owner. They own effectively these identities, these relationships, and now they have some infrastructure for advertisers, their agencies, to communicate to those identities, those relationships, those audiences more precisely on a cross-channel basis for the delivery of personalized communications. So, fantastic, but this is a media company. The opportunity really moving forward is for advertisers to do something about owning and controlling their identity assets in a similar way, right? So should it only be the Facebooks and the Googles and other companies like that who have phenomenal infrastructure, technology, data to execute campaigns against audiences on a personalized basis, cross-channel? I don't think so. And Gartner suggests that, in fact, by 2020, there will be lots of companies that provide identity management services, technology that, well, I'd like to think that advertisers will be able to apply so that they can be much more personalized about their marketing communications in a similar way to the way the media owners supply those services. So, Signal. Of course, we've got to tell you a little bit about Signal, the Chicago-based technology company that I work with, and I have been for the last 2.5 years. It's been a pleasure. Signal is in the business of providing infrastructure for the management or the centralization of data collection on a cross-channel basis and identity management so that advertisers can leverage those identity assets, their own identity assets, for cross-channel personalization of marketing communications, kind of very similarly to the way it is sold to advertisers by companies like Facebook today, but instead taking control of the relationships that advertisers have with their customers and their prospective customers. And it kind of looks like this. So for the last 10 or 15 years or so, it's been very common for advertisers to provide data to media companies through the application, or technology companies through the application of tags, data collection tags, JavaScript, pixels, et cetera. Okay, well, that's okay in a browser-based environment, but I think we all know that consumers are engaging with businesses, buying from retailers on a cross-device basis, right? So in order to be able to collect data much more intelligently across those different environments on a cross-channel or a multi-device basis, Signal provides essentially the hooks and the APIs to collect that information. And on top of that, we enable our advertisers to be able to persist relationships with customers across those devices and environments. So it's similar to kind of what Facebook does today, but it's really enabling the advertisers to own and control the relationships in a new and really advanced way. So identity management is critically important moving forward. It's very sensitive, of course. For the last 15 years, advertisers, media owners, everyone in the industry has said, don't touch identity, don't touch personally identifiable information. And of course, we're now saying it's up for grabs. Yes, you need to use those assets. Advertisers need to be much, much more aggressive and protective of those assets, but also to use them to personalize marketing communications and customer experiences. So just kind of to reemphasize, identity needs to be managed on a cross-channel or multi-device basis, and it's getting really interesting, right? So sure, lots of engagement through browser-based customer experiences, websites, or tablet websites, or mobile phone websites. But then there are mobile phone applications, native applications, smart TV applications, in-store technology. For those of you who haven't seen, I think it's called Broadbase, the in-store technology company that's here. You know, phenomenal, exciting technology that enables tremendous data collection and really customer relationship management in some new and advanced ways. Let's continue on here. So, what do you do with this stuff? What happens when a marketer applies infrastructure to collect information about their customer relationships on a multi-device or multi-customer experience basis? Well, we like to think that this is what happens, which is essentially advertisers have this ability to read and understand the consumption or engagement with the business on a real-time basis, but also read and understand CRM data assets to understand kind of not just what someone is doing on an anonymous basis, but who that potential customer is or existing customer is, and use that information to send it to companies like DataZoo, or send that information to Adobe Analytics or Google Analytics, any of the RTB products, personalization products that are out there in the ecosystem. There are thousands to choose from. The business that we're in is to support all of those products and so that they can contribute value back to advertisers in a much greater way, a much more unified, valuable way. And so why is this important? Really quickly, so data collection right now is kind of represented by this chiefmartech.com slide, which was put together, I think, released in January this year. It features 950 technology companies. There are really 4,000 or 5,000 of these companies globally. I think we tend to forget markets like China, where technology companies are being built every 5 seconds, I think. But it's very busy, right? So lots of technology, analytics, personalization, ad serving, you name it, RTB systems. But they typically operate independently, separate from each other, creating lots of silos. Signal's in the business to unify that, to help them to work better and faster. Privacy is critically important, and so privacy is built in by design in the Signal system. So advertisers certainly have an option to be able to manage that on an enterprise basis as well. And at the end of the day, it's really about relationships. It's about customer relationships. This is a little bit corny, but it's true, right? So they're valuable, right? So should those relationships really be truly owned pretty completely by media companies, or should advertisers step up and apply technology that enables them to maximize the value from their customer relationships? So we'd like to think that Signal can play a role to do that. Thank you.